The conversations that are relevant to our growth and development as a state, and where the issues are, that's where we place them. But we don't mince words. Say enya. And that's why you always tune into the Happy Morning Show. One more Ghana you tune into the morning show because you love us for the things that we do. We love us for the fact that we uphold ethics on the show this morning. Bidika Katro say mene penyini baako ebedi enkomo ora Sheriff Gali or Chief Executive Officer, the Chamber for Young Entrepreneurs Ghana. There are a lot of conversations that we've been having around youth employment, unemployment in this country, job creation. But one of the key areas that we seem not to be paying particular attention to is entrepreneurship. That much. And we happen to hear pockets of policy promises. Say, we will give tax rebates to startups. We're giving them tax holidays for about 2 years, 1 year. But are these really helping strengthen the ecosystem? Make entrepreneurship ecosystem? Because if I am to use the British High Commission, it's the British Council. On a reporter that was authored in somewhere around 2015, 2016, and they were saying, say, Obo my Ghana, you find 1,000 startups in the in this year. In the next 5 years, you find about 300 of them. And existed. In the next 10 years, you're likely not to find more than 100 of them in existence. So it seems that there are real issues that we need to deal with. And that's the reason we are having this conversation this morning. Going forward, what do we do? How can we strengthen that particular ecosystem to create the needed jobs that we need and also to employ more and help develop the economy? Sheriff Gali is my guest. And Sheriff. Akwaba. But everything's okay.
The economy is not that good, so manage. Obia say we are okay there. Well, maybe they are getting something different. If maybe but we are managing.
How is the system impacting young entrepreneurs?
It's been very difficult for young entrepreneurs for the past years. One may argue that this government have done a lot, NEIP, U-Start, GA, but you see, those support has limitations. Limitations in a way. Say, imagine say NIPA over 1 million apply for a fund, and just maybe 1,000 gets the fund. You can see the limitation. That means that 1 million youth or startups are not getting the support they need, and that is the problem. So, most especially after COVID-19, things has been very tough for entrepreneurs, and even the big ones who have the muscles, who have the money, they are suffering. So, what to talk of the young ones? So, it's been very difficult, coupled with inflation, coupled with how dollar running faster than anybody else in Ghana, And one other thing is the introduction of so many taxes. We understand government needs to do whatever they can to be able to run the nation, but in the introduction of e-levy, COVID-19 levy, and all of those news and taxes are all affecting you to doing businesses, and that is why you would see that the British Council report still holds that out of 1,000 startups, you may not see them after 10 years because there's no deliberate support system for the young people and startups.
Yeah. So can we say after COVID-19, we've seen startups, and I know that you are always interfacing with them. You've seen startups, and they had the muscles to actually grow into bigger entities. But as we speak now,
their startups are, after COVID-19, they couldn't sustain again. Some of them has to totally close, others have to reduce. That's why now, obviously I was employed, now I'm not employed, because that startup that employ you do not have the muscle again. They are banned completely. They cannot even withstand their burn rate. So they have to reduce. Now you have a startup who used to have about 6 workers reduced to about 2. So that is the impact. So yes, COVID has been a big blow to us and to our economy. And most of the startups that really would have done well, even though they have innovative business ideas, they cannot grow. And that's what we face in Ghana.
What would you say our posturing is when it comes to, say, startups? What would you say our posturing is?
So it's a couple of reasons. When we have leadership that don't understand how to support the entrepreneurship ecosystem, just a few of them.
We have leadership
Who
that
don't understand how to support the entrepreneurship ecosystem. That is the truth. They call themselves business people, but they are not business people. So because a lot of the people are only there, only know anything about how to support businesses. So that is why I love your intro. And I will say something that has not really been talked about, but all the time we mention it, we make it look like we are doing entrepreneurship. I can't say, oh, you're supporting private sector. It's a big lie. We all know what is happening. But let me get back straight to your question. Some of the reasons that we are not really able to support youth entrepreneurship in Ghana is the lack of leadership who understand policies that will support young entrepreneurs. Upusha na almost you NEIP and NDC because say youth enterprise support system, and that is what they think that's all they need to do. But even with that, they give support to politically colored startups. Imagine we are supporting people because they are politically colored and they just overnight startups or entrepreneurs. So do you expect them to stay over 10 years or 5 years? No, they will fail. They are just pushed to go and take the money, and that is it. And this is not just one government or one political party. It has been happening because I've also been in the system for long. So we need to be deliberate in supporting youth and startups. When I say being deliberate, enough of the rhetorics, the talks, we need to invest in the youth. You see, it is not about numbers. That is one of our biggest problems at FAC Ghana. Everybody wants to say, I have done 1 million youth support, 2 million, when you know it's a big lie. And yet, the numbers that we need, what we need is that ensure your support have impact. Say a 1 million Ghana Cedi. There's no need for you to give it to 1 million youth. Select the best of them, give them a huge amount of money, let them scale to become unicorns. Big companies it have a replicate effect because definitely they will not open up to be able to employ more, and they are open up to be able to contribute to economic development, and that is being deliberate. But here is a case, every government wants numbers. Somebody wants 100,000 to invest in their business, and you are giving them 10,000. And you call that a support? I know somebody who got a 10,000 Ghana Cedi from one of them and was like, Sheriff, this one, they say we should just use it and spend. And truly, they will spend this 10,000 Ghana Cedi because I need 100,000 to invest in my business, and you are only giving me 10,000 Ghana Cedi. So far, there's a wide range of issues, especially when it comes to youth entrepreneurs. For me, the sadness here, say your unemployment rate is increasing every single day. Public sector cannot just employ anyhow. Private sectors are not empowered to employ. Now, we need to ensure the youth are creating their own jobs.
For themselves.
And
for others.
If not, when the young person wake up in the morning and they are hungry, what they are thinking is how to get food to eat.
Yeah. By all means possible and necessary.
Exactly. And when they get that food to eat, the next thing they are thinking is what they will even eat in the afternoon and the evening. You cannot force a young man who is hungry to be innovative. You can motivate him no matter how much you motivate, but there are certain basic necessities the young man needs before they can be able to move on. And if that is not done, that is where we end up now having them becoming whatever we don't want to.
That we call national security threat.
Exactly. So we need to be deliberate about it. Youth entrepreneurship.
You feel for the past, I'm trying to say, under the Fourth Republic, we've not been that deliberate. Exactly. Because I know very well, for example, the Innovation and Startups Bill.
Innovation and Startup Bill.
Exactly. So how far is it? So government is showing interest. Say, look, well, I've seen something here, and I would want to actually support. Would you say that's commendable enough?
So yes, it's commendable enough. That's why I said that governments have been trying their best in terms of supporting the ecosystem and the startup. So government introduced YouStart. That was an awesome thing. Government brought NEIP, good thing, to focus on startups and youth. And GA, they've done amazingly well. But you see, they spoil their gains when they introduce nuisance taxes, when we are not able to curtail inflation, when we are not able to arrest dollar. And these are the things that get back to the businesses. So no matter how much support you put on the table, the entrepreneurs cannot still grow. They stay at one place. because you've given us more funding. And now you've added taxes that is taking away all our money. Inflation is not stable. Our city is depreciating. So these are the things that doesn't make businesses to strive. So you will see government effort, but at the end of the day, but let me get back to a point. So you see sustainability and the implementation of policies are very important. It is the crafting, good policies, but implementing it is a problem. So your problem with implementation.
Okay.
A lot of the initiatives are good. The youth study is brilliant. The then NDC Youth Empowerment Support, brilliant. But how were they implemented? And that is where it boils down to the fact that we put people who don't even understand the policy to implement. And that is one. Number two, even those who understand the policy are not allowed to implement it right, because you have to give, even if you know Sheriff doesn't have a good business idea. And he's our party member. And these are no allegations, these are realities. So imagine overnight entrepreneurs are the ones benefiting. So if government understands, say, our more role and responsibility is to provide the environment for businesses to strive, the policies and the funding, then they should leave training and capacity building academia. Identification and mobilization can be done by other groups like the Chamber of Young Entrepreneurs. We know serious young entrepreneurs who are doing business. It is just a few of them that will write you over, Sheriff, we need this young. They need them just to come for their programs and to give them numbers, but not necessarily to support them. A bedroom funding, they have their own people. But when they need serious entrepreneurs to come and show and exhibit and all of those things, they know that, okay, let me call Ghana Chamber of Young Entrepreneurs. So my point is that if you know, you can go rely on the Ghana Chamber of Young Entrepreneurs to give you correct on serious young entrepreneurs. And so when you have a funding, work with them. But all because okay, it's not everybody who is a member of the chamber. How do you even support your local organization so that it can be strong? If you tell everybody that we are working with Ghana Chamber of Young Entrepreneurs on this, then the young people who are really doing serious business who want to join the chamber.
Want to associate, yes, sure.
So you see, it has to be deliberate. And when America said it's a whole lot of things that we just need to know. This one I am doing it no matter what, because that's the right thing to do. And that's why I keep saying deliberate. So let's talk about the startup bill.
Yeah, it's true. The startup bill.
Yes, it's true that
government has been supporting.
Government has shown commitment. And besides, startup bill has become the order of the day. Recently, AU, with support from Google, has also launched a startup model. And African Union is on the advocacy for every state to adopt the startup bill. You see, somebody may ask, why do we need a startup bill? The reason is, you see, all of these promises they bring. Youth Enterprise Support was NDC. When President His Excellency came, he brought from his soul rest in peace, John Kuma, to start NEIP.
Yeah.
They changed everybody, sacked all of the workers that were working at YES. Not a single one was left. And then new NEIP was formed. And that is the government trajectory. That is what they want to do, right? The point is that imagine we had a law that had set up the Ghana Innovation and Startup Agency and have given them the mandate to support startups in Ghana. So that is why now even AU, African Union, think that every African country, they should adopt the African Startup Bill or policy that will focus on startup, because startup is far different from SME. Or because GA does amazingly well.
Ghana Enterprise Agency.
Yes, Ghana Enterprise Agency for SMEs. But SME is different from startup. And startup and yet tech. Startup for us is any business that adopt innovation and technology to scale, grow, and create the jobs. So the futures of a startup is totally different. My mother is an SME. It doesn't care about scaling up, neither does she care about even employing. They open a profit at the end of the day.
Exactly.
She's able to sustain.
Yeah.
And that is all. And those people, their needs is also different. But a banner startup, they have the potential of scaling and they have the potential of changing your economic trajectory. So those people need special care. Say, growing big businesses in future. So they should do their good work
with the MSMEs.
We need that specific agency called the Ghana Innovation and Startup Agency or the Ghana Startup Agency. And every government, I think, have that idea. The Youth Enterprise Support NDC did was similar idea, but wrong implementation. NEIP, similar idea, but different implementation. So this is where we need that law that will guide everybody. So there's a fund called the Ghana Innovation Fund. As your national budget, you are supposed to contribute maybe 10 million Ghana cedi to win. It is by law. You can't come and change that. Oba, you are supposed to give startups 8 years tax holiday. You know that by law, there's a 8 years tax holiday for startups. By the law, you know that you need to support startup to employ for the first 3 years. That is the hiring support. So that when the startups are able to take over, they take over. And so imagine, say, you've been able to employ for me as a startup for 3 years, let's say 10 people. And the caveat is that after the 3 years, you take over for those two, you have created 10 jobs.
Jobs, yeah.
And that's the deliberate thing we are talking about. So if you look at the startup bill, there are a few things, and I'm happy this government is in sync with it, and other development partners like the World Bank.
But would you say, Sheriff, would you say this government will be able to pass the bill? And Sakra and San were free.
Because I feel this is now election year. But anything can happen, who knows? And the bill is not politically motivated. And I want to use this opportunity to call on both sides, whether it's NDC and PP. Having a startup, even listen to what AU said, having a startup bill or a law is not a political thing, it's an economic decision that changes or transforms our economy. So Obi Ambeka say a government way, and I'm happy the way this government has handled the bill. They haven't made it like their own. They accept the fact that it's a need for our economic development, and that is why they accepted to work with the private sector. Today, as I speak to you, the bill is at the Ministry of Communication and Digitalization. You hope say they would be able to push you through, and even if it is in Parliament and they don't get it passed this year, whatever happens after election, whatsoever Parliament is constituted, we know that those people who understand the need for Ghana to also set up a law to support startups.
All right, Sheriff Gali, Chief Executive Officer for the Chamber of Young Entrepreneurs, Ghana. But a quick one before we obviously eventually will wrap up on the conversation. Has got to do with the manifestos I do and also I know for say at a point in time say Oshe Omayam Emra Hodwa Didi Juma. I think there's somewhere there was a need for us to establish a Ghana Youth Federation. I want to understand your engagement with some of these stakeholders. Again, in why no modia mawo efa Ghana Youth Federation no and then Oshe amanyoko mienu any womobose ahodo o mache no. Do you have the feeling say omo wo the youth of this country at heart?
So far, thank you very much. We dear me, though I'm a business person, but I'm very passionate about it. So Youth Federation, no, it's constitutional. I know there's a given. In the NY Act 2016, Yabon who said Ghana should create a youth federation. So for people who don't know the role of the National Youth Authority, it's supposed to be the authority that represents the interests of youth, every young person in Ghana, right? But
over the years.
Well, they try. Omo, monitoring and facilitation, that is their role. However, the law has given Ghanaian organized youth the power to be united by the federation. That federation is supposed to represent the youth. There were supposed to be 3 people from the federation joining the NYA board. Unim says 3 people were just handpicked. Federation is supposed to be formed. And Sana Nipa Miansa, the president, the federation to sit on the board of the National Youth Authority.
So Sheriff Besemetias, say Yamfomi Federation no. A kwambe no mo fa so enya nipa miensa no to go and sit on the board of a year.
Oh, Omofia face now say yeah nipa. Because the federation is not there. So and that the reason why it says nipa miensa no, the 3 are representing the youth from the federation is because the federation becomes the implementing and the mobilizing body for the NYA. The federation is supposed to be powerful that this state agencies board on them.
Yeah.
The federation have a youth representation there. But yam pese yam for me.
Why?
And I don't. That is
Why?
the problem politically. No, omusru say your former federation. No, it becomes a pressure body. But it is in the act of NYA. It is needed. Countries be very very committed on youth. Independent council for the youth to voice out. They have leadership, and the youth president in some places is very powerful. Very very powerful. But Ghana. For 7 years, I have been a key person in it. Meka say successive NYA CEOs are there, but I don't know what is happening. Maybe Obi or somewhere thinking that this federation is for money. NDC passed the law during their time, 2016, gave NY the authority, and that law says that form the Ghana Youth Federation, which is supposed to be the amalgamation of all registered youth groups in Ghana. They also have their leadership that would work in tandem with the NYA. By a Nisadian.
So sorry, from 2016 up until 2020, what's preventing
different? So there was a committee formed. There were issues how about almost where political, where MP, where NDC or dissolving that committee. We put together a document I presented to the NYA authority. Recently, I was the last one to do a presentation to the board of the authority, but I haven't heard from them anyway. There are some few people in the board there to get the federation. Lawyer Dennis, Theodora, and few of them. Omo are very, very keen because Omo na mo represent here, even though there's no federation, but Omo na mo here as a representative for the federation. But nobody is talking about it. And one thing I may find say, I'm not politically affiliated. I need to talk about it because the youth need to have a voice. NYA, remember, president appoint the CEO, the vice, and whatever. You think NYA can talk against the government? No.
No.
But the federation will have the power to objectively analyze whatever is happening and engage government.
Do you feel, Sheriff, the two political parties, Omo war, Omanyi Mabuno, Omo
So
based on your assessment of youth manifesto NDC promises on the youth NPP there are other political parties do you have the sense say otenase now gene ho a empanyimfo no mu di o man anim no omo wo mabunu no ho adwene pa bi se on betimi abo mabunu no
Sefa, to be honest, our leaders don't really care about the youth. A face value. We are youthful, we want, but it's face value. Why do I say so? Ghana was a policy called youth policy that has shown how to support youth in different areas. So document, I have been able to identify the types of youth we have: skilled youth, unskilled youth, in-school youth, out-school youth, youth with disability, youth in economic empowerment, youth in governance, about 9 or so key categorization of the youth. My problem is, there have not been any single leader or any political party or MOFA or what do you call a manifesto bar, and in that manifesto you have seen them categorically pick all these places, youth in skills. We want to train 1 million youth in digital skills. That is for the youth who want to go into skill. How about the youth who are out of school? How about the youth in sports? How about the youth in health? How about the youth in education, the youth in entrepreneurship? What did they make? So if you really want to support the young people, it's not all of us our interest to go and learn digital skills. And you'll also know even the resources to go and learn digital skills. So I say we the youth are the one causing it because more numbers. We wear the political colors and we are the ones we are happy unnecessarily because when we stand at the street to show their placard, after that they give us 100 cedis. I'm not saying don't support your political, but believe in the fact that we're a young person. So if they don't create the opportunity for you, then your future is bleak. So youth, especially in their manifesto. I was happy when NDC said they had a youth manifesto. So I thought there was something more to come in it. But, well, they had some promises, bold ones, of course. MPP also have their bold one. But I want to tell you that all of those things are generic. They are generalize everything. You have to be specific. Pick the youth in all their categories and tell us what you want to do for the youth with disability. And entrepreneurship should be, for me, the core. Because every year we have 250,000 graduates hitting our market. That is a serious time bomb. One day, when hunger tear them, they will forget the political colors. You see the way when lion is hungry, if he eats anything or even rotten animal. So that is a caution, and we need to be careful about it. So for Omo manifestos, they've made bold generic promises.
But you need to be potty.
There's for nothing the categories. We have heard people say 1 million jobs, 10 million jobs. Where are the jobs? You are still unemployed. And you are happy. Then what are we serious as young people?
Finally, is the future bright for us?
The future will only be bright when we have leaders who understand the need to support young people across Ghana and Africa. If you as a president don't even know what your youth policy says, and then you just get up, you just promise anything, then we are doomed forever, because people would go to school, they will learn skills, they will come out and there's nothing. People will try entrepreneurship. I know young people that suffer, they needed just a little support from government and they could have made it and become despise the McDonald's, but they didn't get that support. It is because our people who are leading us don't know how to support us.
Sheriff Gali, it's always refreshing and interesting having conversations with you. Before you go, they will want to hear what your final words are for them. Then I'll catch them. Said this year,
so for my last word to the youth, Ghana Nkwana, we complain about everything, but one thing we don't ask ourselves question is that, why am I voting? I want to beg every young person this year, so vote here. This time around, be someone who said, why am I putting this my thumb on somebody? What is the reason? At that ballot box. Say, yes, sir, by the grace of God, we're going to select good leaders until we pause and ask ourselves, why am I giving you the power? What are you going to do? What did you really say you're going to do? Until we ask ourselves that question and forget about where I belong to, the political color I wear. And one thing that pushed the youth in, they say, okay, my party is mobile power. I know people who gave funding to parties and they didn't even get anything. They've collapsed. Their businesses are down. So you, a young person wearing party shirt, you think when they win, they will mind you. The highest you can get is national security, whatever. And that is not what you want. So please ask yourself, why am I voting for John Mahama? Why am I voting for Baumia? Why should I vote for Alan? Why should I vote for Shada? If you can get 5 solid reasons as a young person, then vote. And yes, sir, you will continue to vote for people who would lead us with understanding how to support you. My last word.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Sheriff Gali, Chief Executive Officer for the Chamber of Young Entrepreneurs and Artists, and it's refreshing. So if Ubusa Hona Unya 5 solid answers to the question as to why the NTA was so to aba edema empenyinfu ya omayi omwese was Ghana for and to omuso abano to abano. When to me 5 solid answers, ask yourself a question.